Hi, good evening, and welcome to yet another week's installment of the Minority Report. I'm Marlon David, your host, and I want to say, it's good to be back again here this evening and just sharing some information with you, having some conversations, and really discussing the business of Tobago, checking out what's taking place in our public domain and just keeping all of Tobago abreast. I want to thank you, our listeners and our viewers, publicly, and I try to do this as much as possible, for the unwavering support that we've received, that we've been able to continue bringing valuable information, pertinent information to the forefront every single week, and that would not have been made possible if it was not for you, the viewers. This evening is no different. We are definitely raring to go with our program today. However, before we do so, let me just do some of the administrative stuff. You're viewing this program right now on Tobago Updates website. It can be viewed, Tobago Updates YouTube channel, but the most frequently used platform is the Tobago Updates Facebook page. And you can also view this program live on M&E TV. Yes, that's an addition that came, and it's a welcomed addition. And I mean, truth be told, we expect much more coming off of the Tobago Updates platform. For those of you who want to send us your messages, you want to make your comments, you want to even make recommendations, the number to do so is 284-6597. That's 284-6597. And if time permits with our conversations this evening, we may open the lines, and that number to call would be 356-8833. 356-8833. And I'll encourage those of you who would be desirous of calling to really have your phones on cue, because when we open the lines, we really want to get into that, and we want to utilize the time in as wise a manner as possible. I want to take the opportunity to introduce my guest in studio with me this evening before we even go into any of the headlines in terms of what's been happening in Tobago. I have with me this evening the ever-present and ever-still deep waters we know we always get from this particular person. Just today, someone was saying to me, I love how she speaks. She takes her time, she explains to you, and when she leaves, she always leaves you saying, wow. So I introduce to you this evening none other than Minority Councillor, Little Danielle Benoit. Welcome, ma'am.
Good night, Marilyn. Welcome all to the Minority Report, another episode. We thank you for your continued support, and just share the live.
Thank you very much. To her immediate right, we have someone who is becoming no stranger to the program. She has continued to really step up to the call. And, I admire her willingness to really get out there and become part of the process. I speak of none other than our party General Secretary, Ms. Akisi London. Welcome to the program this evening, Akisi.
Good evening, Marilyn. Thank you, and thank you for having me on the program this evening.
Very well. And I mean, our final guest in studio this evening, a gentleman who I think needs no introduction. He has now become a fixture as part of the minority team here in Tobago, and he continues to carry not just the voice of reason, but also continues to represent Tobago and Trinidad and Tobago all over the world in terms of training and development and so on. And I speak of none other than Senator Lawrence Hislop, who, by the way, is here this evening, fresh out of the Senate. I mean, I really admire his commitment, straight from work to work. Welcome, Senator.
Good evening, Marlon. Good evening, ladies. Good evening, Tobago. It is truly a privilege to be here. Yes, Marlon, straight out of the Senate today, and straight to work again.
Straight to work.
Minority Report, I'm here again.
To whom much is given.
Yes.
How that sounds like something I said. Yes, sir.
And you know, before we move forward, I want to take the opportunity to just say good night to our minority leader, Assemblyman Kelvin Morris. Always on the job, always out there, always really striving to do more, to do so much more to represent the voices of those in Tobago that would have not been able to do so on their own this evening. Taking a break, a bit of family time as well, you know, a special evening. So we want to say good evening, sir, Assemblyman Kelvin Morris, and we trust that you would have a very enjoyable evening out there, but continue to do the work that you know you have the support of everyone around this table, and I think by now almost all of Tobago supporting the work and the efforts being put out. So this evening, guys, welcome to the program yet again. And before we get into the mainstream of discussions, I really want to take the opportunity to send out condolences to the family and the close friends of Teresa. Yet again, we know that last Friday we had the homegoing service of both Teresa,
Thursday.
of Teresa and Christian. A very sobering day in Tobago that was. And only this afternoon, this evening, we would have gotten word that one of the other relatives who would have come from the UK for the funeral would have drowned at the Argyle waterfall, and tragic indeed. And I know that this, I dare say, might be too much, even for the family and Minority Council. I know that you were very close with them. I don't know if you want to share any sentiments, if you would have communicated with them at all this evening.
Yeah, I did. I want to join in sending condolences to the family. And, you know, as the old adage says, like, this is more than plenty. And it is really a difficult time for the family, especially that the deaths of close loved ones would have been so tragic. And last week you would have buried daughter and son-in-law. And today the news have come where your grandson has now also tragically passed. And I just want all of Tobago to keep the family in prayers. It is a very difficult, trying time. I did reach out to Mrs. Allen, and it's a hard time for the entire family. So continue to cover the family, cover our island, cover your respective families, pray for each other, be our brother's keeper.
Very well said. Senator, I know in these times you always have very, very comforting but sobering words.
The truth is, sometimes you don't know what to say. Because not only with the Allen family, but you're also treating with Mr. Turner, who was murdered yesterday.
Yes.
And it's just interesting. Well, I shouldn't say interesting. It's difficult to swallow, because Mr. Turner was somebody I knew personally for a long time. From a church perspective, from my days at RBTT, because at one point in time he used to be the courier for the bank. So there's a professional relationship, there was a personal relationship. He was always into fast cars and that kind of thing. So it's somebody I knew personally, and so you have that loss with his family, and then you have this, as Councillor rightly says, is more and more. And it is just, you wonder sometimes, and I saw somebody say, when you question God, people always wonder why you question God. And I always tell people there's nothing wrong with asking him why.
Yeah.
Because if you have that relationship with him, it is okay to ask him why. Job asked.
Yeah.
Job asked it. Job said, it's better I go back. It's better I wasn't born. It's better my mother had. So in these situations, you question why. You question what is the lesson that he is trying to teach. And I think that is what is most key. When you ask him, what is it you want me to learn from these experiences or this experience?
Yeah.
And when you take, and the thing about it is that we ought to take it from a personal level. And then you have to ask as an island and a country, what is it that God is trying to teach us in this time? Because the reality is death is the greatest equalizer. No matter what status you are, what title you have, how much money you have, all of us end up in a hole that is the same size. And even if you get cremated, you are just dust.
Yeah.
And I think a couple months ago, I went to a funeral where they were burying the urn with the ashes. And I looked at it, and the hole was literally 1 foot by 1 foot by 3 feet deep. And I'm saying to myself, this is what man is reduced to. And so we ought to ask ourselves, and even every day, we ought to ask ourselves, what is it you're trying to teach me? Where do you want me to go? And how do I get there with you?
Yeah.
And so in this time, I want to as well extend condolences to all the family members, all the friends, because it is difficult. Death is difficult. Nobody, we know it is part of life, but nobody is ever prepared for death.
Yeah.
And so we know it's difficult. And so I reach out to the family and say to them publicly, my deepest condolences. May God, because He's the only one, may God grant you the peace that you desire, that you are in need of. Because it may sound cliche, because we always say it, rest in peace, condolences. They're cliche statements. But He's the only one who knows what you're feeling. And He's the only one who could heal a broken heart. Yeah?
So true and so well said. Folks, we want to go to a very short break, and when we return, we head into a bit of discussions for the program this evening. So stay locked on, share the live, and let's get persons involved in the Minority Report this evening. We'll be right back.
Good morning, good morning, put a smile on
This is how it's gonna go. They better look up and look, 'cause this is your show. And everybody's gonna know. Say it to them once again. They better look up and look. This is your show. And everybody's gonna know. That's how it's gonna go. They better look up below, 'cause this is your show.
From the experts that created the Zinger sandwich comes the KFC Crispy Barbecue Zinger. Cheddar cheese, crispy onions, the most delicious Kentucky Fried Chicken, and barbecue sauce. Get ready for a whole new level of flavor.
Mamai Lakai Home Services. We specialize in cleaning of carpets and rugs, mattresses, living room and dining room sets, vehicle detailing, cleaning and sanitizing of homes and commercial spaces. We also do landscaping and tree cutting, pressure and power washing, floor care, fumigating and air purifying. You can also call us for professional painting services, babysitting and adult sitting. Call us now, 333 4430. At Mamaila Kai Home Services, we take cleaning to another level.
You can now get whatever you need whenever you need it anywhere in Tobago with Tapago. Your meals, medication, groceries, and shopping all delivered directly to you. No more hassle, no more stress. Get the Tapago app today on Google Play or Apple App Store.
That's TAPPOGO and let us deliver to you.
Check our website at www.tapogo.app or call the experts at 494-TOGO and 484-4746. Tapago. Relax. We will get it to you. Tapago's at your service.
And folks, we are back on the Minority Report. This evening, we want to head into a bit of our conversation again. There's a lot taking place right now in the public domain in Tobago. A lot of questions being asked. We know that there has been a very controversial recording circling throughout, not just Tobago, but Trinidad and Tobago, and I dare say throughout the world, because persons are actually inquiring from all parts of the world as to what is really happening in Tobago with respect to treating with these matters. I know that we have had and heard the conversation in many different quarters. And even this morning, as I was on earlier on today on this very network, and I asked the question when it was said that it seems as if it's dying out. And I said, it's impossible that it could be dying out when so many other voices are lending their voice to the conversation. We're seeing a number of very prominent persons coming out now and speaking out and asking for some sort of redress. You know, and we have been hearing a number of persons speaking about legality. And we're hearing them talking about, well, what was wrong and in law. But something has been plaguing my mind since this occurred, and I touched on it a bit this morning, but I want us to expand on it again a bit more this evening, is the moral framework within which this administration seems to not be operating. We saw a clip as well, very much circulating in terms of a social contract that would have been signed by members of the administration, even though they would have indicated that based on legality, they know that it does not hold the same weight. But they still came to the public and I dare say would have indicated that they were willing to put themselves in a moral position that, listen, if at any point in time, from a moral perspective, we break this contract, we breach this contract, then it is within your right as the population to hold us accountable. And I think what we've seen and we have been seeing in the public domain is that there has been a continuous drifting away from the standards and the moral moorings that would have been echoed even at that time getting into office, even on the campaign trail. And I want us to focus a bit on that, because I can say off the cuff, one thing that Tobago traditionally has been known for is it's been a very religious society, strong family life, good solid virtues. And the question I'm asking is that, have we drifted so far away from our moral standings that it is now okay for leadership to engage in these types of nefarious activities and think that they do not need to come back and be accountable to the public?
You're looking at me like that was directed.
I'm looking across the table, sir.
I don't think we've drifted. I don't think as an island we have drifted. I think as an island we still hold certain values very dear. Persons who know me from a church standpoint would know that there are several statements that I make regularly when I'm having public conversations. And one is that we are all equal. And it's an old preacher statement. We're all equal at the foot of the cross. And none is better than the other. And we also have to remember that we all are guilty of something in some regard. So I don't think that the island has moved away from its moral standings. I think that it is still there. What makes the difference is when you create a particular persona, when you create a particular image, when you are seen as better than, or let me not say seen, when you portray that you are better than, and you fall or you falter, how you treat with it when you falter is key.
Yeah.
Because the truth of the matter is that every single individual will falter at some point in time, or has faltered. We all frail, we all messed up, we all, and the General Secretary was telling me tonight, I sound like if I want to preach, but that's the reality of life.
That's all we need.
Right? So we all messed up in some way or the other. But how do you treat with that is another thing, because I always say my favorite biblical character is Christ. And when he was faced with treating with people who fell, his actions was one of caring, one of understanding, one of saying, I've got your back. But the thing about it is that the person who fell has to recognize that they've fallen. Because he can't help you, and I'm sorry if we sounded like church tonight, but he can't help you if you don't recognize your shortcomings.
Yeah.
And so that's why I'm saying that I don't think we've gone away from our moral bearings as a society. I just think that how we treat with particular things is what makes the difference. When we err, we got to say that we've erred. We have to accept the fact that we have erred. And if we want to bring that into the context of the conversation in Tobago right now, if our leaders had come to the island and said, listen, this is what we did.
Yeah.
And we at your mercy. I honestly believe that yes, from a political standpoint, we would have said, you need to go.
Yeah.
You're not getting away from it, right? But the reality is that you would have gotten more respect from the population if you had come and said, this is the situation. But when we stand on a high ground and say, or we say nothing, then we have to understand that position isn't the right position. You have a duty to the electorate when you have placed yourself in a particular place. When you place yourself in a particular position and you're saying to the population, we are different, we are better, we are going to be different. When you place yourself there and you don't treat with it when you are seen to be in the wrong, that's where the challenge is.
Minority Council, I know you want to. I see you writing.
Yes, I was writing because I came across this definition this week. And it's the definition of normalization. And it was shared in a chat, and I found it to be very profound, particularly with what has been happening on the island over the past weeks. And it says normalization is the process by which something unusual or extreme becomes part of the everyday. What once provoked horror and outrage barely registers. And it appears as if some commentators want us to believe that what should outrage us should become normal. And what was once said in the past to be corrupt and to be immoral and all the wrongs that would have occurred in the past, there seemed to be some sort of normalization because it was wrong in the past. And because you claim a previous administration did it, although you would have campaigned that you will do better, you will fix it, you will have a new moral compass, you are trying to make those things normal. And that is, as Senator Lawrence would have said, Tobago is not yet there, and that is why we are seeing the outcry from several quarters as to this voice note that is in the public domain. And what was said by these members of this administration on the campaign trail is that they would have had a social contract, and the chief secretary would have told the population and the electorate of Tobago that we should hold him to a higher standard.
Higher standard.
Yeah? We should hold him to a higher standard. And he would have spoken to the moral contract that all the members of this current administration would have signed. And I just want to identify a few of the clauses of this contract. And clause 5 says, to lead with diligence and honesty, and to have zero tolerance on corruption, nepotism, and wastage. 6 says to responsibly use state resources and privileges. 7 says to give unconditional attention to and fight relentlessly for the community, business, family, and individual needs of every constituent. In all cases, to prefer the interests of one constituent above one's own and share with all benefits from being elected. And all that we have heard in this or in that voice recording, I think would have gone against the very tenet of this social contract that was signed. And if we are to hold the chief secretary to a higher standard, then silence cannot be what silence cannot be an answer or an option for or a response to what is happening on the island. And Marlon, you also said that it is moral. It is. Let us look at it from a moral standpoint. But I also want to beg that we may need to look at this from a legal standpoint, because when we look at the Integrity in Public Life Act, as politicians, we are all seen as members in public life. And as members in public life, we are also held to a different standard as the ordinary citizen. And this is an act, it is basically law. And part of the law says that we should act in a particular way. We shouldn't be corrupt. We shouldn't use state resources for our own interests, political and otherwise. And what the voice recordings has demonstrated is that we are doing that. We are using state and public resources for our own private and personal gain.
Folks, very interesting conversation. We are going to pay some bills and we'll be back shortly. And when we get back, we head right in with Akisi, the General Secretary. Let's have her into the conversation. We'll be right back.
Our national borders, our first step to security, but a possible access point for guns, drugs, crime. If it does not look right, do the right thing. Call Crime Stoppers anonymously. 800-8477. Report possible border crime.
Good morning, morning, good morning, morning. Put a smile on your
So folks, we're back in studio and continuing our conversation. We've been looking at the moral obligation, notwithstanding the legal obligation, especially to align to the Integrity in Public Life Act, but also the moral obligation that is present, that we're seeing, according to Minority Councillor, that they're trying to normalize what should outrage the public. And I want to bring the General Secretary into the conversation in light of this. What has been your take? How do you view this? What have you been hearing?
Well, Marilyn, I think it's quite interesting, the events that have occurred in the last 2 weeks. And were it a PNM administration, were it Ansel Dennis and Tracy Davidson Celestine, or Orville London and Claudia Groom Duke, you would have seen hundreds of persons at James Park. You would have seen them, hundreds of persons at the Chief Sec's residence, demanding some form of answer, demanding some form of resignation.
Yeah.
And I think it's very disappointing, because I think a lot of young persons, and I'm talking from having conversations with my peers and persons around, would have been sold a hope. And they bought into it. They bought into the picture that was painted for them of what they're going to do and how they're going to change things and do things right. And everything the PNM was doing was wrong. And we're going to go on this straight path. And this has developed. And you don't even have the humility to come and say, yeah, nay, this was me, this wasn't. And I think that you owe the people of Tobago at least some answer. We've been caught, it's been 2 weeks. It's been 2 weeks and there has been no word, no statement, nothing. Just, and you see random things happen and you're wondering, well, do they even care? Do they even care? You're seeing things happening left and right, and nobody's addressing anything. And I think persons are looking on. I think the senator said that we still have that moral compass on this island, and persons are looking on. Some are very disappointed. Some are waiting to hear. And I think the next few days are going to be quite interesting.
But Marlon, I wanted, before you move on to the other question, I want to say that the administration, it's not surprising. Because this is disrespectful.
It is.
The silence is disrespectful.
Yeah,
the silence says to the population, we don't really care what you think.
Yep.
We'll
Pretty
do what we
much.
want. It doesn't matter. We don't have to account to you. That's what the silence
They
is.
expected in 9 days.
And so the administration has always had from inception, and not even from inception, from campaigning, has always had a disrespectful
Yes.
Posturing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes.
The language is disrespectful. The rhetoric is disrespectful. And so when you have a situation that warrants respect for the persons who would have put you in office, because you know what is a downside of this. In conversations I've had, and like he made mention of her peers of young people, conversations I've had with young people, you know what they're saying to me now? They're not voting again. They don't.
Yeah.
It discourages, but yeah.
And so when you had a situation where there was a hype for a change because you promoted that,
That's
Yeah.
right.
and then you come into office and you do something and you have a disdain for the population, because that's what it is. It's a disrespect. It says that you could call how much you want.
Yeah.
You could stand. It doesn't matter who
Yeah.
calls, the chamber, civil society, leaders who supported you whilst you campaign,
Yeah.
people who were there on your platform. It doesn't matter who call and say the road you're going is wrong.
Yeah.
Check yourself.
But that is what they told us to do.
You
They said,
know, and that's
the chief secretary said, hold us accountable.
That's right. So
Call our foes and
that's
tell
right.
us we're doing shipping.
So when you are being held to account by some of, and let's just leave the P&M out of the equation. Let's just leave us out of the
Yeah.
equation, because it is expected that we are going to hold you to account. That's our job, right? So let's leave the P&M out of the equation. But let's put the people who spoke highly of you
Yeah.
during the campaign, during the election, who expected
Yeah.
That difference.
great things
Of
from you.
course.
And now you
Excellent
are,
things.
and as minority councillor says, now you are seeking to normalize nonsense that you're saying to the population, you're saying to the people who supported you. We don't care.
Yeah. That's good.
And so all we're asking is to say something.
Yeah. And what we have seen, to just jumping off of Senator Lawrence's comments, we have seen the mistrust in this administration growing from day to day, month to month, and over the year and a half. Because again, they would have come in on a high note of fixing it, on a high moral standing, on giving people promises that to this day they have not been able to keep. Yeah? And they have said, and the Chief Secretary in his own words, he says, if we find people corrupt, or if you know people to be corrupt, they will be removed from the Executive Council. No, these are not only allegations, We have evidence that has been in the public domain with two officials whose voices we are quite familiar with conspiring or has conspired to defraud the public. Yes? And to use public funds, misappropriate public funds for their own personal and political gain.
Yeah.
We have also seen where the Chief Secretary would have indicated on numerous occasions. The reporter from another station, Liz Williams, thank God for her, she would have camped out his office and we would have heard him
she had to camp out.
indicated that he will report to the people soon.
Soon.
But we have heard the Chief Secretary use that
Plenty
word
soons.
soon
Yeah.
on a number of occasions because he would have said that he will pay the ex gratia soon after giving several deadlines, probably about 3. It was at the end of December 2021, then it went on to the end of the financial year 2021, then it moved to the first quarter of the fiscal year 2023. We are actually close to the end of the financial year. We are approaching a new budget debate in this month, and no ex gratia payment has been made, and we have heard nothing. And that should have been paid soon. Soon has no timeline. Then we would have heard about soon to the reshuffle. The reshuffle, what should have been at the end of December 2022, and then there was some whatever came into the space according to the Chief Secretary, so it couldn't happen at the beginning of January 2023. And now again, we are hearing, we also heard soon with the audit report.
With the audit report,
Yes, the audit report should be coming soon.
Since September.
And now the response to this
also coming soon.
Is also coming soon.
It's a movie.
So based on the reputation,
we have one more break to take. We have one more break to take.
Is that the time?
Time already. Time runs away on us. So we're gonna take a short break, folks, and we're gonna be back to continue building up before we land this flight. Stay tuned and stay locked on.
Welcome to Limage Parfait Day Spa, your urban oasis and wellness center. Our services includes massages, treatments, facials, pedicures, weight management, detox programs, and much more. Call us today at 624-1452 or 720-7474. Trinidad locations and Bonacore, Tobago at 273-7772. Let us treat you like the VIP you are.
Excel Spa by Haley, where our highly trained staff are ready to deliver the top-class services in facial massages, waxing, nail enhancement, and body treatment. We are ideally located at Coco Avenue, Switzerland, Tobago. You can find us on Instagram, Facebook, TripAdvisor, or you can call us on 730-0149. Excel Spa by Haley. Relax, renew, and rejuvenate.
So folks, we are not coming soon on the Minority Report, but we are here. However, we ended on a note of a full-fledged and developing movie industry in Tobago, where we have heard a number of things that are coming soon. And we know when a new release is out, John Wick, the Little Mermaid, and so on, you always have the ads running coming soon. The only difference is that all of them actually have a date of release. And we've seen this coming soon concept evading, and Minority Councillor, it speaks again to the very point that you raised about normalizing. And I think that what is expected is that the public will become, normalized to the fact that desensitized to it. Listen, we don't ever deliver on anything we say. Any promise that we made, do expect it to be fulfilled. We're still waiting on the website where transparency is going to be, foremost. We're still waiting on all these divisions performing. We're still waiting on so much that is coming soon but never arriving. And you know, I want to take the opportunity tonight, again, just to steer us in that direction, because I know you all will have quite a lot as well to say on this. I made a point this morning, and you know, it's disingenuous to say the least, of the excuses that we continue to hear every time that this administration seems to find themselves faced with broken promises and their lack of capacity and inability to function. They pull out Politics 101 and the Acme kit, which says that PNM, 21 years, and so on and so on, and PNM did this and PNM did that. I want to make it explicitly clear tonight. December 6, 2021, the population dealt with the PNM for anything that was perceived. Anything that was perceived, the PNM would have done. And what was sold to them by this administration, the public decided on the 6th of December, 2021, that, listen, let's give someone else a chance.
That's right.
We've not seen them settle down yet to do the work, but continue to look, in the words of my Tobago West MP, in their rearview mirror, whilst trying to drive forward.
But Mr. Moderator, we can see why they have not settled down.
Yeah,
It
because
is
the focus is on
clear as
Your focus is
day
to
in the voice
continue
recording that
campaigning.
is in the public domain that they will not stop
Campaigning.
And true to form, they have not
They
stopped
have not.
Yeah, but
campaigning.
at some point,
So they have not settled down to govern.
At some point, you have to stop campaigning and govern.
Yes. What is the development plan for Tobago? What is the policy direction? What is the vision? What is happening on the island? And if we really sit down and look objectively, we will see that nothing is happening. I was talking to someone today, and they were like, Petal, all I seen is a FET match.
Yes.
All I am seeing are activities that will cause us to
Fed.
Yeah.
to FET.
The Roman Empire says, give them games. Give them
Yes.
games.
Yes.
So in the midst of all of this, we have seen 3 or 4 assemblymen, instead of speaking to the public, showing a FET match, showing a this,
events.
showing a that, showing a
Can't
event.
show a pig out. What going on with the
And
phones? That on?
well, I'm not
I
sure.
see.
You see, Mr. David, I am,
Keep them entertained.
you know,
Keep them entertained.
you know, we're in a somber mood tonight. And we're in
Yeah.
a somber mood because of all the blood, all the bloodshed that is, all the death.
Yeah.
And on top of that, and I look at my island now, I have a challenge recognizing my island. I feel there's something not right in Tobago. And that's just, I don't know what it is, but that's just how I feel. There is stagnation.
You feel it.
And let me tell you something. One of the key indicators for any country, for you to determine whether your island or country is moving, is your construction sector.
Yeah.
And when you have a situation where Tobago, the largest spender of money in the construction sector, because of the construct of the island, is the government, the TNG. That's the sector I am in. And I could tell you straight up, bar all my other duties outside of Trinidad and Tobago, I have not really worked, since, what month are we in? June. I have not worked in that sector. And this is bar my other activities, but I have not worked in that sector since about March.
Why, Senator Lawrence?
March.
Why you have not
that is
worked
it.
in the sector
Why?
since March?
Because there is nothing going on the island.
And it's not that you do not want to work.
And it's not that we don't want to work. And then the little that is going on in the island, you have the dynamics of hey, I'm a PNM senator. So even if you had the thought of getting something from a THA standpoint, salt.
Yeah.
And that is not just me. That's not just the company I'm attached to. That is across the board. There are contractors who are balling.
Yeah.
That there's nothing going on. And you're talking about 18 months. When you talk about 18 months of stagnation in the construction sector, you're talking about a dead sector. And then when and then this evening when I came in, I asked the taxi drivers, I said, how much people come on the BA flight? They tell me just 100 and something people. And the BA flight is the only direct flight from England now, and you're only pulling 100. What are we doing?
Wow.
What is it? What is it? What are we doing on this island right now? Why is there nothing going on?
Because we are spiriting away our entire development.
That's right.
project.
And that redundant. You are telling me, they could tell me what they want. That road at Shervan could have been done by no less than 4 contractors on this island, based on this island. Which we know we've said it at
seen it before.
ad nauseam. That causes a ripple effect. You telling me if you say to a Tobago contractor, we are giving you how much is the road? Was the value of the road? $65 million, right?
Yeah.
You say to a Tobago contractor, we're giving you a $65 million contract to build a road in Tobago. You know the ripple effect that creates in every single village on this island.
Yep.
Every sector.
In every single sector.
Several households.
Because that's right. Because even if you say the road is what 2.5
kilometers. Yeah.
Even if you say, all right, we're gonna break it up into 2 packages, and we're gonna give 2 contractors, and you start from that end, and you start from that end, and we meet in the middle.
Just the roundabout.
Just like what they've done with the highway in Point. You create packages. So you do that for 2 contractors. You know what you're going to do. You know how many people you're going to impact. For every worker on that site, you're talking about 3. Look, the economist there. Look, the finance person. You're talking about
not economist.
Sorry, finance person. That's why I changed it. You're talking about 2.5 to 3 people that will be affected by every one person that is on that job site.
Yeah.
And when we talk about 1,200 jobs lost in Tobago, you want to downplay that?
Yeah.
And say that's nothing?
Normalize it.
When you talk about a population that is
it.
only about 60,000 people, what's the workforce, Petal? Madam Council, what's the workforce at Tobago? Out of that 60,000, about 15,000?
About that.
Right? Yeah. If you take 1,200 people out of a 15,000 workforce, you know what you've done to the workforce?
10%.
You've not only decimated the workforce, but you've decimated the economy.
Yeah.
Because you don't have the money spinning. And listen, we are not going to feel the effects of this. I'm no economist, but I have common sense. And we're not going to feel the repercussions of these 18 months. Now you know.
But Senator Lawrence, we have already begun to feel the effects of what the policy.
It's going to get worse.
It will get worse. But we have already started to feel the effects of it, and that's why we have so many families on the breadline. So many families coming to the office of the minority, meeting you on the streets.
In the groceries.
Wherever you are.
Yeah.
Almost every week, someone reaches out to me because they don't have
hardship.
Yeah,
I'm a bit upset,
because they're suffering.
I could tell.
Yeah, I'm a little
and they are feeling the pain. So we are seeing the results. It will get worse.
It will get worse.
But we have already started to see the results of the policy of this current administration.
Yeah, and when you think about all of this, and someone says 21 years, and the PNM has done nothing, it's baffling. It seems that we've taken even 3 steps back thousands of setbacks.
Yeah, and I mean, one of the points that even this morning, and it's something that we have to keep, even in our wind-up, we have just about 4 minutes, I think. But in that same narrative, 21 years, the question is that before the 21 years, what did Tobago look like?
No, but I want to remind people.
Yeah.
I want to remind the administration and the supporters of the administration and the Tobagoans that for every town hall meeting that this administration hosts and said the PNM has done nothing, they're sitting in a community center.
In a community center that the PNM built.
That's right.
For every event that
That's
they're
right.
hosting.
Shaw Park.
At Shaw Park.
For everything that they're hosting at Shaw Park, every office, every dignitary that they're greeting at Shaw Park. You have to remember that is the same Shaw Park that they lambase.
Yes.
That they don't sit in.
That was going to sink.
For every event that they're hosting at Buku Integrated Facility. That is
A PNM
that is
policy.
a venue that the PNM didn't build.
All the schools, the
All the
secondary
schools, all the
Secondary
schools,
I remember going to
all the
schools.
primary
Secondary
schools
Yes.
that they're
Hospital.
saying that the PNM did that the children go to. Let me tell you something. I remember speaking to a gentleman. I know we're wrapping up. But this administration governance is a continuum.
That's right.
This administration met a foundation.
That's right.
By now, Scarborough section have been started.
Yeah.
They should have started building Scarborough section. When last have we heard anything about what's going on with Scarborough section?
Absolutely nothing.
And I want to make this point. You're spending $64 million on a road in Sherwood. And Bad Rock,
Rainy season is upon us.
Belgarden, Argyle is still untouched. We've heard no design about Bad Rock. We in the rainy season. What are we saying to the people of from Argyle up?
Yeah. People have already started making that point.
That's right. Who could find themselves in a position that they could be more cut off?
Yeah.
But you spend it. Now I understand the dynamics of Bad Rock. Well, I may not understand it fully because you have the geotechnical work to be done. But from a standpoint of being in the industry, I understand that it is going to require significant work to remedy Bad Rock. But you're not saying anything to the people in the East.
And you're not doing anything
You're not
either.
doing anything. No, I can't say that you're not doing anything because the design works may be happening. And your studies may be happening about how to treat it. But you're not saying anything.
That's what's happening.
Yeah.
Well,
And the fact that
you
you're not
speak when you have something to say.
And the fact that you're not saying, but you know what is sad? This was an administration that said that the PNM was only concerned about West Tobago. And so far, every single piece of development that this administration has done since they got into office has been in the West.
Yeah.
This is also an administration that said that they will be accountable and transparent.
So I am hoping that for the sake of the people from Argyle upwards, that we don't have any serious rainy season this, so that it could give the administration some more time to finalize the plan and to sort out Bad Rock once and for all. We need to fix Bad Rock. If you don't sort out Bad Rock, we stand the possibility because there are a couple landslides that come down and break the road. What happens again if we have another landslide at that point?
We pray.
Folks, we are out of time. We would have gone already 10 minutes past. I just want to give each one. I know, Senator, you closed quite well. Akisi, Minority Councillor, was very quickly. Closing comment.
Again, my heart goes out to the families of the bereaved. We just pray for peace and comfort during this very difficult time. And all of Tobago, we are asking for prayers. And Let's not make what outraged us in the past normal. Let's not normalize situations that would have created horror and outrage. Have a good evening.
I just want to extend condolences to the families of the deceased. I think the last week, couple of days have been very tough on us as an island. And as I always say, Tobago, mind your business. We have an administration who we need to hold accountable, regardless of if you're supported or not, because everything that they do affects us as a whole. And mind your business, Tobago.
Thank you very much. Well said by every member of the panel. I want to close this evening by exhorting us all to pray. I want to echo the sentiments across the table and really say to us this evening that something is not right. And I want us to close on that note. Something is not right. And as a people, as an island, as brothers and sisters, let us heed what is taking place, and let us all shed and drop on our knees and spend time in prayer.
I just want to encourage Tobagonians. I know that was the moderator's closing, but tomorrow morning there's a very important Joint Select Committee, Parliamentary Joint Select Committee that is to take place, and I happen to be part of that committee. We are going to be looking into the Division of Tourism and the Division of Finance as a follow-up, but we are going to be treating with some present issues. So we're asking all of Tobago to tune in. It's going to be a very informative Joint Select Committee meeting. You could tune in on the Parliament channel, the Parliament Facebook page, Parliament YouTube channel. And you will also be invited on the YouTube channel where you can send in your questions to the chairman, and your questions can be asked to the officers of the THA, because we will be interrogating the Division of Tourism and the Division of Finance. So officers will come before the Joint Select Committee of the Parliament. Questions will be asked, information sought, information will be had. So we're inviting all of Tobago to tune in tomorrow. It's from 10:15 in the morning. Tune in, and you will be, as we say, mind your business. It's our business, so tune in.
Thank you very much, Senator. Folks, have a wonderful evening, and this is the add up for the Joint Select Committee tomorrow. Let's all take heed, let's log in, let's really pay attention to what's taking place and ask the questions that need to be asked, because as we started tonight, I want to end the silence is deafening. Have a wonderful evening.